Now we live. We live. Hey, y'all. Oh, I don't see no hand claps, but hey, y'all.
You see the hand?
Why I don't, but that's all right. That's all right. There we go.
The volume of his voice is going to be loud.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Shine Your Light podcast. Of course, I am your host, Lachelle Hooks.
I am Cam Beats, the artist. I'm aka Tommy Styles, the producer, the co-host, and I'm happy to be here.
And I'm Kendall Bell. I'm here today as another co-host. I have my own podcast, KB's Community, and I'm also a local music artist. So, yeah, just here to add to the conversation
We
today.
dropping podcast names too.
Yes, we are.
You can join me on Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. The Cam Beats Breakfast Sandwich. If you are looking for some hearty breakfast and you are at your computer at work, throwing your AirPods and listen to the show. It's great.
Yes, both have absolutely amazing shows. Thank y'all so much for blessing us with y'all presence today on the Shine Your Light podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Yes, Lord. Beauty, love, life, positivity, all of that good stuff. And laughs. Laughs. We're about to be surrounded by laughs. Ha ha ha. So, y'all, of course, on the Shine Your Light podcast, we speak about the journey of life and the journey of becoming the absolute best version of yourself. Today, we are interviewing one of my absolute favorite people, y'all. Okay, he's my absolute favorite comedian, one of my favorite celebrities. Okay, he is an actor, he's a writer, he's a movie producer. You guys have seen him on HBO, Def Comedy Jam. You've seen him on BET Comic View. I love Comic View. I didn't know this, but he actually appeared in Barbershop and also Love Jones. We have Chicago's own legendary comedian B. Cole with us today. Hey.
Hey, thank you for having me. Really, I appreciate the kind intro. That was great.
Say it again, B. Cole.
No, I said I appreciate the beautiful intro. It was great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I was practicing.
She introduces everyone. You're nobody special.
He's definitely somebody special. And I wanted to make sure, we have to bring him in with the right energy. We have to set the precedence, you know what I'm saying, for the stage. I'm so excited for this interview, B. Cole. I truly appreciate you being here. So we just gonna go ahead and get on into it. Is that all right?
That's perfect with me. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, we speak about the journey of life. So we're going to speak about your journey as a comedian. So how did the famous, the amazingly talented B. Cole discover that he was funny?
Oh, wow. It goes way back to basically childhood, really. I owe it all to a best friend of mine, a best friend of childhood. A guy named J. Arthur. I call him Jay, but he goes by J. Arthur, and he just started doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles maybe like a few years ago. But this guy, he transferred into my grade school at seventh grade, and I'm gonna tell you, all the way up until seventh grade, I was this serious little dude. I was this guy. I was like. I was serious. I was this dude who just, I don't know. It just wasn't a funny bone in my body. I carried this leadership trait. I just had this whole thing of being taken serious and carrying this leadership trait. And once this guy, Arthur, J. Arthur, he transferred into my school, he was just really good at signifying. I know you guys call it ribbon, or back then we call it capping. Capping is a different term used today, but this guy was just phenomenal on just, talking about people. I think it was his defense mechanism because, he used to get picked on, and he was the new guy, and new guys always got picked on and everything. But his comedy timing and signifying was like impeccable. It was great. And the thing was, when he used to talk about me, I used to get mad and I used to want to fight him. And it's times I think it was time I took a swing at him and hit him in his face on the school bus one time, because that's how good he was and he embarrassed me. So I had to come to my senses like, yo, I got to stop fighting this guy every time he talk about me. I better join him. I better get the humor going too as well. So I believe hanging with him, it really rubbed off on me. But I really learned my sense of humor from Eddie Murphy, stand-up comedy. Before him, it was Richard Pryor. As a kid, listening to the records down in the basement, just learning the skills of comedy, studying them. So I had that talent in me, but it took Jay Arthur to transfer in my school in 7th grade to bring it out.
Wow.
So that's when I knew I was funny. Because I started hanging with this guy, and man, it's like you had to be funny or just get laughed at, and that was just how it was in the, especially with our culture, you play the dozens, you talk about people mamas and stuff like that. You look at somebody's clothing and you go in on them. So that was the whole thing, is just like, yo, you do or die in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I found out at a very young age.
What part of Chicago are you from?
I'm from the south side of Chicago, area they call the Wild Hundreds now. The Wild Hundreds. And the south side is broken up in so many sections. You start with the Argyle Gardens, going to Roseland, West Pullman area, the Jeffrey Manor, all that. That's considered the Wild Hundreds. And that's where I'm from. And DMX actually gave us some love on one of his songs, X Gonna Give It To You. But that's the first time I really heard it on the whole national level when X said, shout out to the Wild Hundreds, So, he put our side of town on the map. But that's where I'm from.
For context and for me, because the only way I know Chicago is from North Chicago for the Cubs. I know the West Side because of the Farrappan factory, and the South Side. Is that close to Midway? Is Midway near that area? Or is that further south?
No. Midway is southwest, basically, like south over west, like on Cicero. So yeah, that's considered south side of Chicago. Midway. O'Hare Airport would be considered north, like northwest.
All right. So yeah. So the South, actually, Chicago's huge because it takes a long time to get over there. But
I'm from Chicago. Whoop whoop, hometown.
Okay, Chi-town. What side of town?
South side and west side.
South side.
Yeah, and the west side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing about Chicago. We're so segregated in our city. You got the South side, you got the West side, and you got the North side. So it's really everyone really hang in their own areas, and like I said, I'm a South Sider.
Yeah,
it's similar to New York and the boroughs. Like you go, if you stay in a borough, that's where you live, that's where you shop, that's where you eat, that's where your family lives. Mm-hmm. You very rarely come out of there. So
yeah, my grandma was in a village, my mom was in the projects. So yeah.
But the difference about Chicago is what I've learned by living here is that every ethnic group, we're really a segregated city because every ethnic group have their own section. Like you mentioned New York, but it's a lot of cultures and nationalities live together in one neighborhood, Mm-hmm. But in Chicago, you have, everyone has their own little set. You got Greek Town, you got Chinatown, you got, Humboldt Park where the Hispanics are, and you got the Black people everywhere,
So going back to your 7th grade year, you found out that's when you were funny. Did you find out you were funny just because you were able to have that timing and a ribbon, or was it more so you had jokes, or you did you aspire to be a comedian? That was just like that's when you like, I'm funny, and I can use that to my advantage and as a defense.
Well, actually, when I say I was a serious guy, I also had a talent of writing. When I was in grade school, I used to, we used to always have to write these essays and compositions, and I used to always impress the teacher with my stories. Mm-hmm. And when the teachers called me, sit me down, like, yo, this is very interesting. I love to see a continuation of it. So I used to have like trilogies of compositions for my teacher. So that's how I knew that I was good at writing. And then, like I said, listening to Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, they were storytellers. So I always studied how they put together stories and stuff like that. But like I said, the humor, once I was backed in the corner, I had to bring that humor out just to survive in my neighborhood and in my school. That was another ingredient added on to the talents I already had.
What you mean?
So now, now being a comedian, all them elements are always put together that I display on stage.
Yeah. What you mean to survive, B. Cole? You said you had to, out there.
Well, that's big.
Town.
Well, I mean, to survive. Well, here's the thing: to survive means so many different things. Survive from being embarrassed amongst your peers by getting talked about, losing in the dozens, or just being humiliated by someone talking about you, and you're not able to defend yourself in a verbal, comical way on comebacks. And then also too, I grew up in a neighborhood, like I said, the Wild Hundreds. It was gangs everywhere. So I lived on the borderline of two different gangs. We had the Vice Lords, like the Four Corner Hustlers, and you had GD folks, and I was lived right on the border, but I never had to like join a gang because of my comedy, because I used to entertain and like I said, me and my friend Jay, we took that to the neighborhood, to around the circles of all the guys that was gang banging, and they took us in as the funny guys. So they never really pressured us about getting into the gangs and doing any street activities. So that's what I mean by survive that too. The humor can really help you get through all type of situations in life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Most of my family, actually, because most of my family is from Chi-Town, because most of them are gangster disciples or GDs. And then I had one. Yeah, I come from a rough background, okay. And then I had one uncle who was a vice lord. He was an outsider, right? But they kind of got dragged into that lifestyle, but it was probably because they weren't funny. So if they were funny,
you gotta have some talent. If it was being funny or good at sports, like they pretty much left you alone,
So how did you transition from being funny amongst your friends to being funny in front of an audience? How did
wow.
Yeah.
So throughout high school, I have to say throughout high school, once we graduated grade school, myself and Jay, we didn't go to the same high school. So I was off on my own through the high school, and there was a lot of clowns in high school. When I say clowns, a lot of guys who continue on with the signifying, and especially in study hall and in the cafeteria during lunch. I had that. I was getting attacked. It's just like, it's just part of what it is, and I was killing them in the cafeteria. I was doing well. I was like, I gained this reputation of called the Cap Master. And captain was a different term back then. So I became this king of Cap Master, and all my high school years, I was determined to just make people laugh. Even my teachers, everybody thought I was humorous. But then, like, it took to me to get to my senior year, well, my school counselor told me that I'm not going to graduate because I don't have enough credits. Because, I've been fooling around all first 3 years. So my senior year, I took it very serious. I took senior year very serious. I didn't clown. I went straight to class. I started wearing shirt and tie and briefcase to school, you know. So I did a real change up just to get out of school so I can graduate with my class. But that was my whole thing. Then coming out of high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I went and got on stage, and that was the rest is history.
How was that experience? Your first time on stage? You know, were you nervous? You know, what was it? 2 people in the crowd? Like, paint a picture to us. Your first experience on stage, Pico.
Well, when my first experience, it went well with a nice full crowd. Now, when I started comedy, I think it was maybe like months prior before Def Comedy Jam premiered. So I didn't even know about a Def Comedy Jam until it premiered, like maybe 2 months after I started doing comedy, because a lot of comedians came out the woodworks, or a lot of comedians been inspired by Def Comedy Jam. Mm-hmm. And I was inspired from a whole different entity. But the thing is, when I went to my show, well, I did observe first. I used to go, and I went 3 weeks straight to this place that was doing a talent showcase every Friday. It wasn't a strictly comedy show. It was a hall that was rented out, and they call it the studio. And every Friday, it was talent, like singers, poets, musicians, saxophonists, anything you can name. They were all getting on the stage, and it was me going to do comedy, but I was studying first. And that's what I will give advice to any comedian. You know, just don't jump out there, go observe, just do some studying, feel the energy of the crowd and stuff like that, and then come back and be ready. So I went 3 weeks before I got on stage my very first time. Wow. And when I got on stage, it was great. I already knew my first joke, and that's what really matters. That first joke hit, then you got them.
You remember what that joke was?
Oh yeah. That first joke, it was hey, how you doing? I'm a young black male, just finished college. And then I said, well, I didn't graduate, just finished going. And so that was the joke. And this was back in 1991. I started that was Black Friday in 1991. So me saying I just finished college, all these people just so proud of me and applauding, and man, just see the achievement of a young black male. Then I just hit them with I didn't graduate, I just finished going. And that's what got him. And then what was so cool, because when Kanye did a song on his first album, and he used that line. I didn't graduate, just finished going to college.
All right.
Wow. So I thought that was cool.
That's cool.
Super dope. Go ahead.
So okay, I'm gonna rewind back, because it sounded like you left high school with your briefcase and your shirt and tie and got right on stage. What inspired you to say, I'm gonna go to a step? Did somebody like encourage you? I know you said you were listening to, sneaking and listening to Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, but after listening to those guys and then knowing that you're funny and then saying, I'm gonna put a set together and then get on the stage, what inspired that? Like did somebody encourage you?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a very interesting story. It was a comedian from Chicago by the name of Eugene Thomas. Now, during the time I was in high school, and like I said, me and my best friend Jay, we were in high school, and we were known to be funny around the neighborhood. But what Eugene Thomas used to do, Eugene Thomas was a comedian back in the 80s. So what he used to do is leave the neighborhood and go to the north side and do comedy. You have to remember, Def Comedy Jam wasn't even heard of, so it wasn't even nothing, no comedy in no clubs anywhere. Mm-hmm. The only time comedy became inside clubs when Def Comedy Jam came about, and everybody wanted comedy inside their lounges, clubs, living rooms, or wherever. So this before that. So Eugene, him being a comedian, he didn't have anywhere to go but to the north side, where the mainstream comedy clubs were, like Zanies, the Improv, such as that. So when he come home, he used to try to convince my friend Jay to do stand-up comedy because Jay was known as the funniest guy. You know,
So
like he overshadowed me.
So you're still friends with Jay,
So
even though you're at a different high school?
Yeah, because we lived in the same neighborhood, like a block away from each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, and even rode the bus home. We used to meet up after school and ride the bus home. So yeah, always my best friend to this day. So the thing is, with Eugene came over Jay's house one day, and I didn't even know Eugene. Eugene didn't know me. I was just a guy hanging with Jay, who he found had potential to be a comedian. So he came over Jay's house with a VHS tape of him performing at a club up north, which was Zany's Comedy Club. He put the tape in, and he was showing Jay, like, yo, this is what you need to be doing. Check it out. This is me. And I'm looking at Eugene on him. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, he's doing stand-up, but you know, and you know, not taking anything away from Eugene. I just like, I can do that, you know, just like I can do that, you know. Mm-hmm. But Jay, it was just going over Jay's head. Jay wasn't interested in doing stand-up. So I took that right there, just sitting in that room with them. I took that away and I said, I want to do stand-up comedy. And that's what made me want to start doing it. And like I said, Black Friday in 1991, I went and did it. But I thank Eugene Thomas for that. And we just lost that brother, rest in peace, during COVID. So, and I attended his funeral and I told this story, you know, at his funeral. And, you know, his family and everybody, they were in awe by it. But that's pretty much my story in.
So Black Friday, that's the place was packed, I'm assuming, on Black Friday. Is that you're talking about the day after Thanksgiving, right?
The day, oh yeah, the day after Thanksgiving, it was massive. It was real because the show been going on for a while, for months. So it already had a following, you know, everybody went to go see the talent. And when I got there, like I said, Black Friday, man, it was a big crowd. Actually, a couple of my friends were home from college because I had a friend who went to Hampton University. My man Kim Yule, he went to Hampton University, but when he was home, I told him I was going to do comedy, and he came and saw me on my first performance. And during that time, the only comedians I remember that was on that show was me and Godfrey. If you all know Godfrey, who's doing very well right now, he was on that show with me. And yeah, so that's that.
You have this like calmness and this confidence when you're on stage. Did you have that like from the beginning, or was that, you know, developed?
No, I think I had it because I think I had it all my life because I always wanted to be considered cool, you know, a cool guy, laid back. That's how I was described, cool and laid back. So it was just my personality. It wasn't something I was trying to be. It was just who I am. And when I started doing comedy, and as I was doing comedy, there was a comedian who gave me a description of my comedy. He's like, yo, you do cool comedy. He's like, you just on stage, you just cool, collective, and you just do your comedy. I'm like, wow. You know, so that was the description of me as a comedian.
Love it. Love it. Would you say you have a style of comedy specifically, or?
I would say that my comedy, I gave it a name too. It's called box cutter comedy. Okay. That's what I call it, box cutter comedy. Because if I'm trying to be placed inside a box, I cut my way out of it with my skills and my talent. Mm-hmm. So the comedy I have is, I yearn to be different than all the other comedians. So, you know, you can be like, for instance, I've been doing comedy for many, many years through so many times in history. I remember doing the OJ trial. I was a comedian doing the OJ trial, and those were the days of open mic days for me. Okay. And during the OJ trial, every comedian got on stage. It'd be 10 comedians on the show. Every comedian got on stage doing OJ jokes. It was just redundant. You know, the crowd, you know, they'd laugh and this and that. But me, inside that 10, I stayed away from OJ jokes. I did just original jokes that I've written, and really just experiences of my life I put into my routine.
I love
so
it.
that's what kind of make me, that set me aside from the rest.
Yeah, keeping it fresh and original. We appreciate it. I was just talking to some of my friends that live in Chicago, and they saw a picture of me and you, and they were just like from 7 years ago when I attended one of your shows here in Milwaukee. And it was just like, oh man, he's a legend here. He's a legend. Like, how did y'all come together? I was like, God is good, He
Absolutely.
yeah, he brings good people around you. So it was just how much respect and admiration, that they have for you. So that was just amazing.
Thank you, and thanks to them as well. I mean, like I said, to uphold a good reputation in this business, you really have to be careful on how you walk throughout this industry, and you got to be careful with the choices, and and like prayer is very important, especially to the heights that I went to. Like, when I say I went to the heights, I mean, I've been to Hollywood. I've seen a lot. And all the things that's coming out now that's being displayed, and veils being uncovered, I've witnessed that at a young age, as a young adult. So prayer always been my thing to do. My mom was a praying mom. Me being a young guy who had a dream of doing this stand-up comedy, and me going off to Hollywood, because my very first year doing stand-up comedy, I was invited to Hollywood, and I was invited to come do BET's Comic View, and that was the start of everything. And in hindsight, I found myself going too early. I wasn't really ready, but it wasn't hard to do a 5-minute set on television on BET after a year doing comedy. But after that, the phones was ringing. Everybody was all over me, and I was traveling to headline shows. Now, granted, only been doing it for a year, and to headline, you got to have 45 minutes to an hour. So with that instant fame from television, and this is pre-internet days, everything, the magnitude was so huge back then, because that's all people got to view you on, is this small television, and on this one channel. So yeah, it was kind of a different transformation for me from going to do television that first year and then sprouting out there. And then I didn't have the 45 minutes to an hour. So I took myself off the market. I took myself away, and I just stayed local for maybe like 2 years just to develop myself. And then I turned down BT Comic View, because after that first year they called me. I turned them down for the next 2 years because I wasn't ready. And then when I went back after that 2-year hiatus, that's when Comic View began doing a stand-up competition. They changed the format into competing. If you all remember Comic View, they had celebrity judges, and they used to call out the winner, and the winner go off and win their own hour special. So after them 2 years, I developed so much material and skills that when I went back, I won my hour special. They gave me an hour special. And I believe if I didn't take that break, I probably would have burnt out quick.
Yeah, development is so important in the entertainment industry. And I feel like nowadays it's something that's kind of being looked over, because people are becoming like instant celebrities because of the internet, because of TikTok. And so people are getting famous, blowing up before they're ready for it, and then are either lacking the skill, lacking the business knowledge, just lacking in a lot of areas. So
yes, you're so correct.
Yourself.
Yes, you're so correct. I actually feel sorry for a lot of these, especially young comedians that I know, and they get this instant fame, and the internet is so huge. Like, man, it's I didn't really care for it during the 90s and early 2000s, pre-internet. So, because like I said, always a low key private person. So the fame just with that. Now, the way the fame is now with so much exposure just doing the internet, it's like, man, I can't really imagine. And I just love doing what I do. I don't chase the fame. That's the thing. I just don't chase it. And not that I didn't have to chase it back then. Like I say, I chased it a little bit. That's what I wanted. I had a taste for it when I first started. But now, now I just like to coast. I just coast through. I just, man, and I take on whatever comes my way. But I definitely keep my vibrations up, my frequency. So anything that comes my way is something that complements who I am, where I don't have to compromise or anything.
Law of attraction.
And it's just, absolutely. Absolutely. Just going towards my destiny.
I would assume that being a instantaneous social media comedian, and then, like you said, it's pretty, well, you being a serious guy and being a comedian at the same time, it's really what's molding you into making very wise and educated decisions. For a person who's not as serious and is always goofy and think they can be goofy on the internet for even less than 5 minutes, a 5-minute show is a 5-minute show. TikTok is 30 seconds and you get a laugh and you think that you're funny, and then you go out there and try to do a stand-up and somebody heckles you can't recover, kind of thing. So getting prepared for those types of things, I'm assuming, like when you said I feel sorry for them, that was the first thing I imagined, getting out in front of a crowd and because I saw it. I saw somebody get heckled and they froze. I mean, their introduction was vast, and when they went up there, they're gonna be funny. And somebody in the back said something, and it threw her whole thing off.
And see, that's the thing. The game has changed so much, where now it's not even about talent. It's about how many followers you have. So everybody's more worried about quantity instead of the quality of comedy. So when promoters hire comedians now, they go strictly for how many people follow you to possibly get these people in the theater. But there's no good show. Yeah, there's not a good show behind it. 9 out of 10, other times. Some have successful shows and stuff like that, and some have some loyal fans who will just be there to support them through 45 to an hour set, even if it's not funny. You have some diehard fans who would just laugh to support you, give you the courteous laughs, but I want to. I'm sorry, you say what?
I was gonna say that's kind of the same, like a lot of the trash music that comes out these days, because of the fact that people have it's clout. It's all because of followers, a following who's supporting you, and then you'll get picked up and get paid based off of just popularity at this point. You really don't have to have talent, and that's across the board in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's across the board. It's a different game, and it's more of like, instead of being like from the old school and bitter, that's if you're a rapper, a comedian, actor, however, and just being bitter, looking at these young comedians or young talent who's making it like that without the experience and the skill set. You just gotta, like I said, it goes way back. Like I said, even when I wasn't attempting to be funny, but I had to join in to survive. And that's the same case with me, where it's like, now I'm getting with these young internet comedians, like, let's do these skits. Let's get this stuff going. But let me guide you guys on how to really do some sketches. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm tired of seeing skits, and I won't do it. But it's a lot of skits that just really so dumbed down that it's thoughtless, where those are the ones that are winning. And if I see another sketch with a girl and a guy walking down the street, and it's a group of guys standing off to the side, and the couple walk past, and the guy says something. The guy say something to the girl. The girl want the guy to defend her, and I mean, it's so that's done so much, you know. So you get a lot of other cats who just do the exact same thing, and I guess that's just from. I guess that's an algorithm thing, maybe. Right. Just keep doing the same stuff that everybody else doing, and you'll get put on that trend. Yeah, but see, it's like I don't want to do that, and it's just like I'm just too of an original person, an original guy, and like I said, that goes back to the OJ trial when comedians talked about nothing but the OJ trial, and that's the same thing today, where it's like, yo, that's why a lot of people don't see much of me, because I'm not jumping into the algorithms of the trendy stuff.
So let's show them some of Biko's originality. All right. Is that okay, Biko?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. We just got just about a 3-minute clip. I just want to give them a little. You do so much more than comedy, which we're about to get into as well. I know we're running out of time, so I want to go over a few things and go over the movies, you know, that you've written and produced and all of those great things. But I just want to give them a little taste of that originality. Go ahead, Tommy.
Economy fucked up. A lot of pretty women out here. Pretty women ain't getting dates these days. Economy too fucked up. You gotta spend money on a pretty girl. Shit. Fuck that, man. Shit, niggas going on recession dates right now. You just get that unattractive girl. She don't want shit but 40 ounces of some Harold's. That's it. She be happy when you rip her Harold's bag over. Girl, you rip my Harold's bag. I saw the steam go up. My heart went with it. Damn. Because pretty girl, you gotta spend money on a pretty girl. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, if you don't, because you gotta say yes. With all the pretty girl gotta do is ask, because you gotta say yes because she's fine. Because if you don't, fellas, she's going to another man who will do everything for her. That's when I'm fucking with pretty girls from the beginning. All they gotta do is ask, can I have? Yeah, you don't mind? No, man. Yes, let's stay with brother, please. No damn well. Your fine ass. Pretty girls so damn spontaneous too, you know what I'm saying? That's why y'all ain't getting dates these days. Y'all just too much pressure. Pretty girl can call you up in the middle of the day like, hey, what's up? I work downtown. I'm about to take lunch in 5 minutes. You want to meet me? Like, hell yeah, I'll meet your fine ass. 5 minutes, I'll be there. This fool all the way in Gary, Indiana. But best believe he gonna get there 2 minutes early though. He gonna get there on time. They said, yeah, let's reach on downstairs in the lobby. He got a fresh haircut, new outfit, rental car outside. Too much pressure for you fine ass women, man. Comedy's fucked up. Shit. Niggas be impressing these girls, trying to impress these girls too damn much. We gotta stop that. I saw a dude walking around over the summertime, went to that house party picnic. Dude walking around, big ass snake around his neck. I'm like, nigga, what you got a snake for? Oh man, the women like the snake. I'm like, for real? I'm like, why so damn big? He went on big boa constrictors. Because the bigger the snake, they let women know how much money you got. I'm like, damn, how much your snake? $2,500? I'm like, damn. I'm too broke to have that shit. If I got to impress a girl with my broke ass, I got to get a garter snake with that bitch like a choker. Some worm wristbands to match, right? You don't want to talk big. I'll throw this worm on your ass. You don't know, baby. Economy fucked up. A lot of pretty women out here.
Yes, I had to give out a little taste.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, you're funny. I like
you. You know, I don't think I haven't heard them jokes since I probably said it that night.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So being a writer, how often do you write? You write jokes all the time. I know you're walking around seeing stuff and just writing it down. And are you one of those people?
No, man, not anymore. I think, like I said, now I just, you know, I pretty much have premises and concepts of jokes, and then I just get on stage and just build on top of it. You know, I had jokes that started out maybe like less than a minute, like a minute of a concept. Then when I get on stage, I just keep adding on to it. And from that, it can go from a minute bit to maybe like a 7-minute bit, you know, because I just piled up so much onto it. Mm-hmm. I really don't sit down and write. I don't think I can even do that anymore. Just sit and just have a blank piece of paper and a pen and sit down and just like, okay, let me come up with something. I just think as life goes on, things just come. And I just stay thankful to God that my memory is still intact, because a lot of my memory of jokes and everything is in my head, you know. So I do eventually have to write stuff down just to remember things, and send videos such as that you guys just played, because y'all dug deep for that one. I don't even remember seeing that one in a long time. So
that's all I mean. You know, I'm a fan, so I've been a fan for years. So I've watched a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That you probably don't forget.
That's all, and see, those are jokes that I've forgotten about that I can possibly bring back and do and see. And now that I'm so much more experienced and years has gone by since that time, I'm looking at that like, oh, you know, and with my skill set now and all the experience that I have, I can make that much better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so funny that you said that, because we're gonna go into the movies real quick, y'all. But before we do, that was actually one of my questions. Like, look at your younger self, right, as a comedian, and look at yourself now, and tell us, like, what do you feel has changed? Where did the growth come in? You know what I'm saying? What do you feel like developed from then till now?
I don't know. I think the best thing for me was to slow down. You know, I used to be on stage a lot, and I used to just speed through my routine. I was a fast talker, and I had to just learn how to pace myself, because with comedy, timing is everything too. So sometimes you can miss your mark by just speaking too fast, and a lot of jokes can go over people's head. And once you get done with that joke, I go right into the next joke without letting the crowd breathe a little bit, not letting them laugh from the last joke. And I speed right into the next joke. And if people miss that setup, that next joke, they're not going to catch, because they were still lingering from the last joke. So I think now, as I look at myself, you know, I'm a lot more smoother, calmer, and I slow down a bit. And I think that's it. I think that's what it is for me.
So y'all, okay, again, I'm one of his number one fans, right? So some of the movies that he has written and produced are, listen to this. I'm in Love with a Crackhead. All right. Heaven on 7, which is an amazing movie. Y'all have to watch it. And A Get Together. And I know he has some things that he's working on right now. But I want to speak about this movie, I'm in Love with a Crackhead, y'all. It was he wrote a poem about it initially, and then he turned it into a movie. So the first thing I want to know, make sure y'all check it out. First thing I want to know, were you really in love with a crackhead, or
no. And you know, I never was in love with a crackhead, but telling this story, I just recently began revealing where that poem came from, because people used to think that, and I let them think it. But I got that. What inspired me to do that poem, I used to host poetry events here in Chicago, and the poetry, once a month, we called it Full Moon Poetry.
Okay.
And every full moon is when the show happens. So it's like today pop-up shows. So every full moon we have a poetry show going on somewhere. But when you know it's the full moon, that's the night of the show. And there was a comedian. I'm sorry, not a comedian, a poet. He was from my neighborhood, but he always wanted me to take him out and give him some stage exposure. But what me and my manager did, we created this poetry night, because he was connected with a lot of poets. So it's like, man, let's just have a poetry show. So I hosted the poetry shows, and this poet, his name is Malik Youssef, and Malik Youssef is he's with Good Music right now. He's signed to Kanye West label, and he's done a lot of production. Yeah, he's done a lot of productions with Kanye from his first album all the way on. But Malik Youssef, he used to have a poem called "I'm in Love with a Dancer," and you know he used to swoon all the women, you know, of the night with that poem. doing I'm in Love with a Dancer, have his little background music, you know, the snapping fingers. It was real smooth. And then with him leaving the stage, I'll come back on as the host. And I'm like, yo, man, you know, I'm in love with a crackhead. And that was just the laugh. I didn't even have a full poem yet. But remember, I just told you, I used to take something that was less than a minute and I just pile onto it, and it becomes a bigger bit. So that's what I did with I'm in Love with a Crackhead. I went home that night, and for the next show that was coming up, the next full moon, I made sure I had the full poem, I'm in Love with a Crackhead. And that's what, that's what got to be on television when I did it on BET's Comic View. And when I did it on that became a national thing.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that with us. I remember being like in a really down season in my life, and grabbing one of his movies and watching that movie and just laughing the night away. Seriously. So I just want to thank you for all that you do and the joy that you put out into the world. So y'all make sure y'all go see.
Absolutely.
I'm in Love with a Crackhead. All right.
I can't be the only one that's been hearing T-Pain in my head. Going, I'm in love with a crackhead.
Right.
I love it.
But yes, catch that on my YouTube channel, Bco Films on YouTube, and you'll catch the movie I'm in Love with a Crackhead on there.
Absolutely.
Yes. Also, Heaven on 7, a get together. Like you said, go and check out all his films. What would you say was that pivotal moment, Bco, where you feel like you made it? Describe that moment to us, please.
You know, the crazy part when I felt I actually made it.
Yeah.
Wow, because I've done a few things that, you know, I look back now like, wow, I did accomplish some things. I made some independent films. I've done some television appearances, but it was that one time, and this was my 10th year in comedy. I hit that milestone of 10 years of stand-up comedy, a full decade, and I was on the stage performing with Prince. You know, and I've been a huge Prince fan since my youngin' days. And I was invited to his concert, and I was on stage with him in the band the whole entire time.
Wow.
And he told me, and Prince told me to get on the microphone. And when I got on the microphone, I didn't know what to do. Prince just like, man, he just pointed at me and like, no words, just here, go to the mic. And I'm like, and this is in the middle of the concert. I'm like, man, you know, so it kind of put me on the spot. So I went up and did I'm in Love with a Crackhead. Now, prior to me going to the microphone, people just saw me on stage with Prince and his band. And I want to mention Common was there too. Common was on stage with us, and Macy Gray was on stage as well. Wow. So everybody was so eccentric. Everybody was just just out there, you know, characters, because you know how Prince dressed, you know how, you know, and his band is following up right behind him. Macy Gray, she had her own self and all natural, and you know, and Common was dating Erykah Badu at the time, so Common was wearing like, you know, some weird shit, you know. So,
she has that.
Yeah. So everybody on stage looking at me, I was sticking out like a sore thumb. I was the only guy in t-shirt and jeans, and they like, who's this dude? So when I got on, when I went to the mic and did I'm in Love with a Crowd, I'm in Love with a Crackhead, I started seeing faces glow up and finally figured out where they know me from. So apparently these people who was in the audience watched BET's Comic View, or probably saw me around the city somewhere. I don't know, but they were familiar with I'm in Love with a Crackhead. Then I was just seeing everybody like, oh, that's dude, you know. So that, and then with that, Prince came right beside me and played his guitar beside me while I was doing the poem. So that's yeah, so that answers your question.
That is.
When did I thought I made it? That was that moment right there when Prince played his guitar beside me. And prior to the concert, I met Prince prior to that concert, maybe like 2 months prior to that. Wow. And I was invited to his home, and we all hung out in his studio. We just talked and got to know each other. And like I said, Prince was a cool guy. So when we lost him, I really felt I lost a friend, because it's really consider him as a friend, you know.
Yeah. Wow. Just Wow. I don't know. I feel like I know him now through association. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting story. Like next time, maybe we have time, I can tell you how that went from A to Z. The time I was met him at his home to the time he was playing the guitar beside me.
Yes, please. And I know we're short on time, y'all, but I do want to ask you really quick. I need your best memory with another comedian. I need you to give it to us.
Oh wow. Okay. I have a lot
I know.
because here's the thing. I started in 1991, and this is pre-Def Comedy Jam. So a lot of comedians were inspired from Def Comedy Jam. And like I said, the first year I was invited to do BET's Comic View. Now, Comic View was like the high school for all the comedians who were in the game. We were all young and excited about being on television. So I've seen everyone come into the game. I've seen everyone's first time. That goes from Cat Williams, Kevin Hart, everyone. Excluding Bernie Mac and Cedric the Entertainer. They were the generation before me. Mm-hmm. But like I say, I have memories with Bernie, Cedric, Kevin, Cat Williams.
Wow.
D. Ray Davis, Deion Cole, Corey Hoke, everybody. I've worked with everybody, but I gotta say my favorite memory of it, I tell the Bernie Mac story. With Bernie, it's not my favorite, but it's a story when I used to tell Bernie as a young comedian, when I used to walk up to Bernie, I'd be like, yo, Bernie, I'm gonna catch up with you. I used to always tell him I'm gonna catch up with him. Like, I'm gonna catch up with you. And here I am, I'm a young comedian, probably like 1 year in the game, and I'm telling this veteran comedian who's been doing it for 20 plus years that I'm gonna catch up with him. So I know I was this annoying little gnat in his ear all the time, like, Bernie, I'm gonna catch up with you. Every time I see him, I don't even speak. I just like, Bernie, I'm gonna catch up with you, and I'll walk away. And in hindsight, thinking back, I know I was getting on Bernie's nerve. I know it. And the time I really found out I was getting on his nerve, the last time I told him I was going to catch up with him, and it was at the House Party 3 movie premiere, and it was here in Chicago. And at the after party, I told him, I said, Bernie, I'm gonna catch up with you. And Bernie, man, he just looked at me and said, catch up with yourself. And I was like, I mean, you could feel the vibration of the frustration coming off Bernie, the inflection of his voice. Catch up with yourself, And it was in front of a lot of people. And I walked away. I said, okay, that's the last time I'm telling Bernie I'm gonna catch up with him, because you got to think about it. Bernie was feeding his family, paying his mortgage, putting his child through school from comedy, stand-up comedy. And you got a young comedian like myself telling him I'm gonna catch up with him. That gotta be very disrespectful. I'm looking at right now. And what was so crazy, this is how the world works, and this is how God works. Like just a few years ago, I'm already now probably like 25, 26 years in the game, and a young comedian come up to me and say the exact same thing to me, say, "Be cold, I'm gonna catch up with you." And it blew me away.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
You know what you gotta say?
Look how it comes back.
You know what you got to say to him?
Catch up with
you know what? Listen, I was so stunned. He ran away after that. Like I used to run away from Bernie, but he ran away after that. Before I could even get it out, like, catch up with yourself, Oh man, but like I said, I got so many stories. Like even my movie A Get Together. If you all watch that, seen that, it's a very funny movie. Starring myself, and if you all know comedian Tony Roberts. Tony Roberts got to be one of the funniest comedians I've ever worked with in this business. And the time I asked him to be in my movie A Get Together, which we shot in 2002 and it was released in 2005, but I was in New York, and him and Kevin Hart came to visit me at my show that was happening at Caroline's. Caroline's that was in Times Square. It was a huge deal that I was there headlining, and they came to visit me, and they was like, man, how the hell you get Caroline's? I was like, hey, my agent hooked me up with it. And it was a fluke how I even got that, because I went and headlined Caroline's. The Caroline's is a very famous club for comedians, from Seinfeld to Robin Williams. Everyone's been there. You know, Eddie Murphy, everybody. So when I headlined, Kevin Hart and Tony Robbins came to see me, and they was just really there like, nigga, how you get Caroline? But how I got Caroline's was I was booked a week after 9/11. So the thing is, they had, for that date, they had John Witherspoon, you know, Pops from Friday and all that. They had him booked to headline that weekend. It was already booked for him prior, you know, to that time. But when 9/11 happened and everyone stayed home and people was afraid to come out their homes, and I say like a couple of weeks, they didn't cancel the show. They just replaced John Witherspoon with me because they wasn't getting big turnout. So they know they wasn't going to make the money. So they paid me way less to headline, and I was eager to do it because it was Caroline's. But when I did, it was only like every show I did like maybe like 4 shows that weekend, and every show was probably like less than 10 people in the show. This was really fresh of 9/11. When I went, I still smelled Ground Zero, like hair burning, and it was just, you could still see the smoke coming from Ground Zero. So it's very fresh. Times Square, I never seen it. It was a ghost town. Nobody was out. So, but like I said, when Kevin and Tony Robbins came to see me at the show, I asked Tony to be in my movie, A Get Together. I said, man, I got a script. I want you to read it, and I'm gonna be shooting. I want you to be in the movie. He's like, cool. And Kevin was off to the side. I didn't even bother to think about Kevin, because Kevin wasn't Kevin Hart then. Yeah. But Tony, me and Tony, you know, we had a relationship already of working together, and I know how funny he was. I like, dude, you'll be perfect for my movie. So I asked him to be in the movie, and he agreed, and we went and did it, and it was cool. Kevin did ask me if he can get a 5-minute guest spot on my show that night. So I did give Kevin his first stage performance on Caroline's with a 5-minute guest. I gave him 5 minutes of my time to get on stage. So I don't even know if he'll remember that, but his first time on Caroline's, I gave it to him.
Wow, I love it. I love it, Biko. History, legendary comedian, Chi-Town comedian. We love and appreciate you. I know you have to go. I do want to let the people know you have an amazing comedy special. They can check it out on your page. They can check it out on YouTube, on your website. Is it okay if we just close it out with a quick snippet of the comedy special? Just a quick little taste.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we definitely had to do a part 2 of this because there's so much to cover.
Yes, we do. I just want to let y'all know this may not be PG-13, okay, but it is funny. But it is funny. So go ahead.
Oh wow.
A little
okay.
That stuff. I get it, you know. But Marvel just put out a little post saying that one of the superheroes gonna come out the closet. I'm like, what? They're gonna reveal who's gonna be a gay superhero. I'm like, look, man, I ain't got nothing against gay. Don't make the superheroes I grew up on gay. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, make up your own gay superhero. You can make up a gay superhero. That's easy. Ass man. Make up ass man. You know. Ass man. Ass man. Ass man. Ass man. Ass man. Ass man. I'm here. Do that. Don't make my superhero gay, you know what I'm saying? And you know you gotta have a little sidekick. You know, it's always Batman and Robin. You gotta have a sidekick. You know, Ass Man and Juggle Your Balls Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Ass Man with a sidekick. Juggle Your Balls Boy. You know, his superpowers just juggle your balls, make you tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Who was with you? Who robbed the bank? And you're like, oh, Juggle Your Balls Boy, you're killing me. Stop it. Who was your acquaintance? Who was it? Who was it? I told you, Juggle Your Balls Boy. It was me, Larry, and Mold. I know. Just like doing it. Because I was thinking, like, who would be the worst gay superhero? You know, and I was thinking, like, of course, the Hulk and shit. That give a whole new meaning to Hulk smash. Hulk smash. Like, damn. Hulk, shit, you don't want to make him mad. It's like when the Hulk want to get with you, he ain't even got to try to holler at you. He'll just take it. He the Hulk. Every man in here would be raped. He ain't even got to be trying to call you. Hey, you want a drink? No, Hulk gonna take it. And Hulk ain't even got to pull his pants down. His fingers big enough. Like, oh shit, shut up. Turn around. Come on, Hulk, shut up. Before I punch you. Turn around. Come on, Hulk, man. Let the punch go. Hulk. You be running down the street, man, hold your ass. Everybody run, Hulk loose, he finger fucking niggas. All right. Hulk walking down the street, got 4 dudes on his hand, 1 on each finger. Like, he only got the thumb left for you. Come here, turn around. Oh, come on, Hulk. Turn around before I punch you. Well, you just gonna have to punch me then, man. That's a big ass thumb, Hulk. And he got a hangnail. Fuck that, Hulk. Hulk smash. That stuff. I get it.
Mr. Box Cutter himself. Mr. Box Cutter himself.
Oh, wow.
So definitely may not watch that. Don't watch it with your babies. Don't watch it with your kids. Definitely.
Yeah.
To watch. Hilarious.
That's an interesting one.
Yes, and the entire special was absolutely hilarious. So I definitely encourage you. Watch it.
Thank you.
Outside of the box thinking. And yeah, we are going to have a part 2 so we can really dive deeper into the creative genius that you truly are. So we appreciate your time today. Absolutely, Biko. Do y'all have anything else you want to say to the king?
I just want to say it was great getting a bit of an introduction to what you do as maybe a little bit of a younger generation. Like, it's really refreshing to see and to hear you talk about the comedians I grew up on that my parents loved, and that association is kind of great. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
It was an honor. It was an honor. Thank you for being a part of this. And we do need a part 2. I got a lot more questions. We were under an hour strain, but we need to do a part 2, especially on the movies and your writing with those. Oh
yeah, absolutely. And hopefully maybe the next time I can actually come to the studio and sit with you.
Absolutely. Now, I want to say I saw on your resume that you did you were part of Civilian Life, the independent film that was done here. Were you on?
Yeah, absolutely. I've come to Milwaukee and done Civilian Life. I just had a little small part. As you all know, Miss Cut Up, comedian Cutting Up. Very good friend of mine. She, it was her movie, and she asked me to come do a small role in it, and I did it, and it was fun. I came out there and Civilian Life. I don't know, I never seen the movie though, but I remember doing that.
Oh yeah, they did a premiere. My frat brother was the director, Reuben Whitmore. He's the one who directed the film, and I saw the premiere, but then I haven't seen it since. But we need to find it again so you can see it.
Yeah, I would love to.
All right. Well, like I said, it's an honor meeting you, and looking forward to the next conversation we have.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Yes, and shout out to D-Rock as well. I know y'all are a really good friends. Shout out to Miss Cut Up. I love them so much. And
I just want to shout out to all the Milwaukee comedians. They, I've been there from the 90s visiting and doing shows there. So I built a lot of great relationships with a lot of comedians there as well. So yeah, big ups to Milwaukee.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. And shout out to Chi-Town because that's my hometown. So
awesome.
So we love you, B. We love you, Biko. Until next time, we'll see you soon. We appreciate you for shining your light today.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Bye. All right.
Closing out.
Yeah. Well, this has been an amazing show. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add?
No, thanks for
having me.
Yeah,
always.
Always.
And make sure you too check in with her podcast. What is your podcast again?
KB's Community with a K.
Yep. And your podcast?
The Cam Beats Breakfast Sandwich, 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings.
And me, Shine Your Light. Until next time, y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.